It is live streaming. So we are on air. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Uzigi University. Today, we are going to listen to Nahal Korami defend. It is live streaming. It's not this. I'm putting in the chat the link of the live stream if anyone would like to share that with other people. So after the presentation, which should take 35, 40 minutes or so, jury members can make their own comments and questions, of course. Since we are also on Zoom, to do that, you would have to either connect with the computer to the Zoom and use your computer, or go there and do it from Nahal Korami, or come here and do it from my computer. So your comments, remarks would be recorded and live stream. Otherwise, it's going to stay in the room, and this is not what we would like to do. So first of all, we should introduce Nahal, and I'm going to do that. No, first of all, we should introduce our jury members, and I'm going to do that in a second. I don't know the order. So to begin with Luca Orlandi, who is an historian and architect, and he is teaching at Uzigi University. He is a graduate of University of Genoa and a PhD from Politecnico of Torino. His doctoral thesis was on architect Mimar Sinan and his contribution to the Ottoman urbanscape in Thrace. He does live in Istanbul and teaches at Uzigi. Recently promoted to the position of associate professor from the Inter-University Council of Turkey. He teaches history of architecture, architectural design studio at the Faculty of Architecture and Design of Uzigi University. He is an active member of ICOMOS Italy within the Cultural Landscape Program frame and cooperates with People in Motion organization. Published many books and papers. And his general field of research is Ottoman architecture, Mimar Sinan architect, Galata, Genoese colonies in the Eastern Mediterranean, Turkish architecture, Italian architects in the Levant. Thank you so much for being with us today. And sorry for that, but I would like to introduce Maziar Abai, who is the co-advisor of this thesis. He is currently the Director of Research and Education Department, Urban Planning and Architecture Research Center of Iran, UARC. Maziar Abi is the Research and Education Department Director at the Iranian Institute and a university professor and practitioner. He proceeds with an academic and professional career in parallel for about 18 years. He is the Director of the Research and Education Department of the UARC, an invited assistant professor at the Faculty of Architecture and Planning of University of Art, Tehran. Also a project manager at Godzine Consulting. His main topic of research is urban morphology. Previously, he did research on urban morphological codes, and he's currently working on quantitative analysis of urban tissue transformation. He has been expanding his CV, which I'm going to read briefly. Following his morphology research, he is, in addition, cooperating with 10 design firms within a number of municipality projects in Iran. Thank you so much for being with us today. And our invited guest, jury member, Özlem. I'm not sharing. That's so weird. So that was Maziar Abi. Sorry for that. I read that, so I don't have to read that again, I suppose. And then Luca Orlandi, Özlem Özer. Thank you very much for being with us today. She is an urban planner specialized in spatial analysis and design of street networks and urban areas. She received her PhD degree in urban and regional planning in 2014 Before becoming an academician, she worked as an urban planner in national and international planning projects. For more than 10 years, she has been working in academia as a lecturer and researcher. Served as the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Design and Architecture for 2 academic years and the coordinator of the graduate program in architecture in Oakland University. She spent 2 academic semesters in University of Georgia, US, in 2011, where she was instructor in 2 classes. She is currently working as an associate professor at the Department of Urban and Regional Planning of Gebze University, Gebze Technical University, I beg your pardon. Her teaching and research interests focus on urban design, walkability, space syntax, spatial morphology, and GIS technology. Thank you so much for being with us today. And finally, I would like to introduce myself, if I can find myself somewhere in the deep sequence of layers I have on my computer. So I'm Sandor Kamis. I'm Italian by birth, graduated in Sapienza. My PhD at Sapienza was about history of medieval town planning in Ravenna. I attended postdoctoral studies there until 2014, taught at the Rome program of the School of Architecture of the University of Miami and at the Faculty of Architecture, Design, and Fine Arts of Kiev American University in Cyprus, where I did direct the International Center for Heritage Studies and the Department of Interior Architecture. I am, editor of Forma Civitatis, International Journal of Urban and Territorial Morphological Studies, published by Bloomberg Verlag in Weimar, and also a council member of the Society for Post-Medieval Archaeology in the UK. I am now currently associate professor and director of the Laboratory of Dynamic Research on Urban Morphology at the Faculty of Architecture and Design of Uzegi University in Istanbul. My main research interests are on architectural, urban design, heritage management, and design in archaeological areas. I will be moving to University of Pescara in February, as I have been appointed associate professor therein. So this is my last semester in Uzegi University. And finally, if I find her, I would like to introduce our candidate, Nahal Korami. Hold on a second. That's going to take a second before I find that. Nahal Korami. There you go. Coming up. Nahal Korami, there she is, received her bachelor degree in architectural engineering from Tehran University of Art, Faculty of Architecture and Urban Planning. Her thesis was entitled, Designing Pottery Cultural Complex in Yazd, Iran. She is currently doing her master's degree in architecture at Uzegi University, and she did write and publish a number of research papers, including the one on the typological process of the historical courtyard houses in Yazd, and urban morphology and identity crisis, the case of Yazd, Iran. She is a member of the Dynamic Research on Urban Morphology Research Group at Uzegi University, where she participates in different events. Also as a tutor in summer schools and studios. She has founded the Tile Design Studio, Iranian ancient architectural decoration. She has been designing and manufacturing handmade tiles since 2018. So it is now all covered, and thank you very much to all of you. We have a number of people on Zoom. Please keep your microphone off from Zoom, and we will be now listening to Nahal Korami. I do apologize, but I'm going to have to leave you for a few minutes because I have to print a number of forms, which I cannot do from here because I go to my office. But you have it? Okay, so we're good. But still, I'm going to have to go and get my charger. Anyhow, I'll do that once you have started. So we're ready, and Yes, try to keep your presentation within the 40 minutes or so that we can get the comments later. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nahal, and I'm delighted to welcome you to my thesis defense. I would like to show you my findings of my thesis research that I have explored the Qanats, which are the underground water courses, and its influence on the formation process of Yazd. I would like to take a moment to express my appreciation to my advisor, Professor Kemiz, and my co-advisor, Dr. Ebai, for their support throughout this thesis. So I'll begin to provide some background on the research, followed by a discussion about the methodology, and I'll present the main findings and finally the conclusions. To provide the context, this research is an urban morphology study. The urban form analysis in Iran has not been an organized research stream. Therefore, there is a requirement for morphological studies and urban analysis due to urban development in Iranian cities. The main aim of my research is to comprehend the urban formation process of Yazd and its correlation with the Qanats. And the main question is that how were the urban configuration and urban formation process of Yazd influenced by the Qanat systems? The past is the key to understanding the present. Moving into the methodology, the theoretical approach of this study, similar to Kanigia's methodology, aim to achieve a comprehensive understanding of the relationships between the urban components of the city by reconstructing the its formation process. Through the examination of historical maps, remaining structures, documents, and written sources, this research has retraced the various phases that the city of Yazd went through during its formation process. So the study has been structured into two primary phases. In the first phase, the study focused on identifying and characterizing the Qanat systems. And in the second phase, the research has directed a morphological analysis. It has analyzed the emergence and formation of the city within four scales: territorial scale, the urban scale, urban tissue scale, and the building scale. And now, upon the methodology discussed earlier, let me proceed to the research findings. The Yazd province is in the central part of the Iranian plateau. It has 10 cities, and the city of Yazd is the provincial capital. In arid areas where agriculture depends on irrigation, water shortage was one of the main motivations for many innovations, such as underground water courses, referred to as the Qanat system. This system played an important role in maintaining and developing the civilization on the Iranian plateau. In Yazd, a widespread of the network of Qanats exists under the city at various depths, and these Qanats flow towards the agricultural lands surrounding the city or villages situated downslope. This map shows the city of Yazd in 1960s, including network of roads, inner and outer city walls. So now I want to talk about a little about the history of the city. According to the natural history by Pliny the Elder, the realm of Persians, which we currently refer to as Parthia, is situated between the Persian and Caspian Sea, on the elevated territory of Caucasus mountain range. The Parthia is composed of 18 kingdoms, and the author mentions about Isatis, which is the name used in ancient sources to refer to the city of Yazd. The geographical position, as described by Pliny the Elder, of the city of Isatis and its corresponding demonstration in ancient atlases, such as this map from Cram's Atlas, aligns with the present position of the city of Yazd. Moreover, Jafari, who held the position in rulers in Yazd, mentioned in his book, which is Yazd History, that the Alexander the Great led a march from Iraq to Khorasan. When they reached the Khorasan desert, which corresponds to the city of Yazd, he directed his army to construct a fortress and initiated the flow of a camel. Also, you can see in this map, again from Cram's Atlas, that which represent the Alexander's marches, that he passes through the Isatis city. So the place became known as Kasa, marking the first mansion of Yazd, and it was referred to as Alexander's prison. And moreover, the author refers to Sassanid king Yazd. He was a powerful king who had authority over both Persians and Arabs. While he was traveling within his kingdom, he reached Kasa, where he found the climate to his liking. Yazd said, "I want to construct a city in this location," which he named Yazdan. And then the name of the city transforms to Yazd. He congregated the builders of the empire, and the astrologers made Yazd under the sign of Virgo. So following the outline, my next point of discussion is the Qanat system. Names are consequences of things. So I begin this part with etymology of the word Qanat. The word Qanat that we pronounce it Qanat in Farsi comes from the Arabic word Qana. It is noteworthy that the hieroglyphic alphabet of Qanat represents hand, water, and loaf, which is comparable to the word Qanat in terms of meaning and sound. Also, the other name which is used for Qanat system in Iran is Kariz. This word has a Parthian roots. Now I want to talk about this Qanat's technology. Part of the rainwater infiltrates the Earth's crust, permeating through the permeable layers until it reaches an impermeable layer. At this point, it accumulates to form an underground water table. Due to the considerable depth of this underground water table, specifically in Iranian central Iran, it becomes challenging to access an appropriate water supply for irrigation without the using of modern pumps. Consequently, the Qanat system proves fundamental for cultivation in the absence of such contemporary pumping technology. The Qanat system comprises a nearly horizontal underground channel, this one, which is connected to the underground water table which is situated at an upper elevation at one hand. And this channel lightly slopes to convey the water from the water table towards the Qanat's outlet at the other end. So the Qanats are excavated by Muqannis, who are the expert persons that make this technology. The construction of a Qanat system commences with the master Muqanni estimating the starting point and determining the precise slope and path of a channel to ultimately emerge at existing village or proposed village. At the anticipated site for the water course, one or more test wells are excavated. It would be here. The procedure of excavating the nearly horizontal channel starts at the Qanat's outlet, from here towards here. While the Qanat channel is being excavated uphill towards the testing well, vertical wells are also dug out to facilitate ventilation and to lifting out the excavated materials. These are some figures showing the wells and the windlass for lifting out the excavated materials. When the Qanat system is constructed, these wells attend as access points for the maintenance and repair of the channel. Therefore, these wells become a lasting and essential part of the landscape. They form the unique chain of wells, like this, of wells that is noticeable in aerial photographs. The Qanat system length and depth depends on various factors such as the terrain slope and the geography of the territory. These figures showing the water collection pool for distribution system at the outlet of the Qanat. And for example, in this figure, they are cleaning that pool. When the Qanat's water reaches the surface near the settlement, it flows along the main channel or branch into the village. Through the irrigation system, the water from Qanat is distributed from the primary branches to various part of the structures of the city, within the city. The agricultural lands, these are agricultural lands, are arranged in clusters within cultivation areas, regularly situated downslope from the settlement. Therefore, after fulfilling the water requirements of the city, the Qanat's water is directed to the cultivated areas for irrigation. The word korte, which means a piece of land in Farsi and is used for referring to the agricultural lands, is comparable to the Latin word cohors, and also in terms of meaning and sound, and also the word court that we use for courtyard house also has same meaning, which means an enclosed space. The cultivated zones are divided into a set of rectangular strips referred to as korte, as I said. The long axis of the korte aligns with the steepest slope in the landscape. In central Iran, the irrigation system utilizes the border or strip method. The Qanat's water is expressed to the rectangular courts through an open ditch system where channels branch off at suitable angle and parallel to the main channel, forming a grid pattern of irrigation channels. These are some figures, aerial imagery of these cultivated areas in suburbs of Yazd. And these are some photos showing the distribution system within their agricultural fields. This wooden tool it was used for measuring the flow of water within the water channels. So now I want to show you a video that I took when I went to Yazd.
Are you sure you're also sharing the audio? Maybe you want to stop sharing and then share again and make sure you select share audio. On the left, share audio, share sound.
Share sound, okay. What is this? It's asking me to allow this work. Computer audio, please install the Zoom audio device. Oh, maybe I'm going to share it like this because I think there's a problem. Okay, I'm continuing with my presentation. Okay. To address the research question, considering the correlation between the Qanat system and the urban configuration of the city, let's move into the next topic, the formation process of Yazd. The study has investigated the formation process of the city within 4 scales. I begin with the territorial scale. This research has investigated the way the existence of settlements and urban cores initiated from roads and productive structures in central Iranian plateau. The city of Yazd is situated between 2 parallel series of top ridge roads, and it is an example of a valley settlement. This geographical pattern is also observed in neighboring cities such as Taft and Zarj. There are 2 reasons for this geographical pattern. The first reason is that the mountainous areas in this region have a steep slope, so they do not provide a sufficient area to form a settlement. And the second reason is that the climate of this region is hot and arid. Consequently, these settlements use the canal systems to fulfill their water requirement. So both populated and unpopulated settlements have formed in valley to make use of these systems. The second scale is the urban scale. The first stage is the emergence and formation of Yazd within its city walls up to the late 14th century. The first structures is Alexander's prison by Alexander the Great. No remnants of this building exist today, as it has been destroyed. But archaeologists, based on historical records and local discoveries, have considered the location of this prison to be in the northern part of Yazd historical context, situated at the intersection of 2 main roads, the Valley Road and the Cross Valley Road. Hence, it can be assumed that the initial pre-Islamic city center, consisting of Alexander's prison, was located at the junction of these 2 roads. In the late Sassanid era, Yazd experienced expansion, and at that time, the city was confined to the Fahadan neighborhood situated in the northern part of Yazd historical zone. The Sassanid Empire was overthrown following the Arab conquest of Persia. So in 18th century, Muslim communities settled in the northern region, leading to gradual development of new neighborhoods. So in early Islamic period, the expansion of Yazd was towards south and southwest direction, following the main slope of the territory. The emergence and formation of the city relies on characteristics of natural environment, including climate, land conditions, and most importantly, the irrigation system. All parts of city were planned to ensure proper access to the Qanat systems. The end of 14th century marked a significant phase in water infrastructure development of Yazd, with establishment of two series of qanats. So in Islamic period, the new city center was built with elements that correspond to the Islamic culture and life, including the Jame Mosque. So there was a shifting from the local centrality from the Alexander's prison to the Jame Mosque. These are some photos showing the remnants of the city wall, the initial city wall in the northern part of the historical zone. The second stage is the formation and expansion of Yazd with the appearance of new neighborhoods outside the city walls from 15th to 16th century. In this period, by the order of the city governor, a new district referred to Amir Chakmak complex, and here was planned outside the city wall. This complex, which with its commercial functions, including a mosque, a cistern, and a bazaar, was arranged in form of a square outside the city walls. Moreover, the bazaar underwent significant development due to the growth of trade. It becomes an important urban element integrated with the urban context. This was the main axis of the bazaar. Yes, sorry for that. So the end of the 16th century, Yazd has had three series of qanats. The other qanat was added to the city. These are figures showing the Jame Mosque. So the third stage is the extension of Yazd concurring with the regional constancy from 17th to 18th century. In this period, the notion of the square became an urban planning model, integrating vital economic and administrative activities with the religious center of the city. The prominent urban development during this period included the expansion of the city in southwest direction and the initiation of the construction of Shah Tahmasp Square and its mosque outside the city wall. This is square. And the last stage, the fourth stage, is the development of Yazd according to the municipal law in 19th century. In this period, the plan for expanding the bazaar in a linear manner between the two squares was started from this square to this one. So the bazaar main access that was here. Numerous theological schools and caravanserais were constructed along the bazaar road, forming a mixture of religious and commercial structures. In this period, as the city expanded along the east-west axis, perpendicular to the north-south axis, which had been the main direction of growth in previous eras, the urban tissue underwent a more balanced transformation. Furthermore, in the 19th century, the fourth series of qanats was added to the water infrastructure of Yazd. This table represents the chronology of urban transformation of Yazd, as I mentioned. Through the analysis of the transformation process of the urban maps within historical stages, including the chronology of the Qanats, it can be said that there is a strong connection between the urban growth of the city oriented along the main slope and towards the south and southwest and the Qanat systems. Indeed, Yazd has expanded in such a way that they are favorable conditions for the construction of the Qanats. Now let me decrease the scale to the urban tissue scale. The urban tissues are living organisms that alter over time. The city of Yazd emerged and formed under the rule of Sassanid king at the intersection of two main perpendicular roads, the Valley Road and the Cross Valley Road. The city was enclosed by city walls, including 4 gates. 2 main roads extended from these gates. These roads passed through the different parts of the city and intersected at a right angle in its center. As I said, the initial pre-Islamic city center was established at this intersection. The city had a network of parallel and perpendicular roads and paths aligned with 2 main roads. So these roads surrounded rectangular and regular city blocks, and therefore the city of Yazd followed a grid pattern. In this phase, the first Qanat was constructed. The path of this Qanat aligns with the main road, which is the Valley Road. Moreover, the network of secondary roads is parallel and perpendicular to the Qanat's path. And also, this Qanat acts as a dividing line between the first phase and the second phase of development. In the Islamic period, new spaces were added to Iranian cities and significant alterations were made in certain urban elements compared to the Sassanid era. The main element of these cities is the Grand Mosque, or referred to as Jame Mosque. In this period, the city center of Yazd shifted to the location of the Jame Mosque. The concept of centrality has persisted from the Sassanid era, although it has progressed. The center is not considered as a single point in a space. Instead, it transforms into a linear configuration over time. These linear elements are represented by the bazaar. The bazaar originates from a central point and expands in a natural pattern. In this period, the city is constructed and expanded along the bazaar axis. Although the network of roads may appear chaotic, it is structured due to a logic. According to the attraction theory by Professor Qanat, the roads change over time. Several of these deformations can be interpreted as the result of attraction or repellence of some artifacts. These are there are different components that act as attractors in the urban environment. For instance, city walls, city gates, water infrastructure, bazaar, and special structures. In this period, the road network follows an irregular pattern. And moreover, in the second and third phase, this Qanat, the second Qanat was constructed in the city, similar to the first Qanat. The path of this Qanat follows the main road of the street of the city, and the network of secondary roads is perpendicular to the path of this Qanat, and eventually it acts as a dividing line between the second and third phase of development. And now I want to show you two aerial imagery, one from the northern part of the city, historical zone of the city, and one from the southeast. which shows the first one shows the regular pattern, and the second one shows the irregular pattern of the urban tissue. The city of Yazd experienced both a regular and irregular pattern, as I said, in its formation process. The outcome of these patterns is a cohesive and integrated urban fabric in Yazd, which is connected to the geographical features of the region and the principles of the desert architecture. These are some photos from the streets in the historical zone. And by the way, all the photos are taken by myself when I went to Yazd. And also these paths from historical zone. So the last scale is the building scale. I presented this part of my thesis in 6 Issouf, Italy, in Bologna, 2022. This research has investigated the typological process of historical courtyard houses of Yazd. Therefore, it has selected various courtyard houses as a historical building type within the same cultural area. This map represents their location within the historical context of Yazd. The historical courtyard house meet a wide range of human needs due to the central open space or courtyard that acts as the heart of these houses. The arrangement of spaces around the central open space has facilitated the integration of artificial and natural environments, and it has separated the building from the external surroundings. Hence, courtyard houses have an introverted architectural character. This introversion aligns with the climate, beliefs, religion, and lifestyle of inhabitants, and indeed the courtyard is the private paradise of these houses. I have made a table detailing the documents of each selected courtyards, serving as a foundation for my case study investigation. These houses of Yazd have a cube form, as this shape is considered the most suitable due to hot and arid climate of this region. In ancient Iranian perspective, water had a close connection with the sky and was considered one of the most vital elements. So in the middle of the courtyards, there's a pond situated along the main orientation of the courtyard, and some rooftop views from the courtyard houses. And eventually, to examine their typological process, I have arranged them with the same scale within a matrix. Here, I have turned back to the territorial scale to introduce Zarj Qanat, outbox of the building scale. This research has investigated the Zarj Qanat in Yazd as a case study, aiming to examine the architectural structures associated with the Qanat systems, such as water mills, payabs, and cisterns. These structures are directly related to the daily life of the residents in cities or villages. The Zarj Qanat originates from the mountainous areas in the southeast of Yazd. This Qanat crosses under the various sections of city. Subsequently, it leaves Yazd and continues its route towards the city of Zarj, and it reaches the ground level in this city. From here to here, the Zarj city. The Zarj Qanat has 3 branches. Currently, only one of the branches is active, while the other ones have dried up due to the drop in the underground water level. This Qanat, considering both active and inactive branches, has an estimated length of about 80 kilometers. This Qanat enters the city of Yazd at a depth of 28 meters and continues underground for approximately 30 kilometers. In Yazd, several architectural structures have been built in association with the Yazd Qanat. These are some photos from this Qanat, as I showed in the video. And this map represents the location of architectural structures within the historical context of Yazd. The first structure is the water mill. Water mill's operation relies on energy obtained from the water pressure accumulated in the mill's well. And these plans showing the Wazir water mill is situated 30 meters underground along the Yazd Qanat path. These are photos from entrance of this water mill, which is 30 meters underground. And from the millstone and the area of the water mill, and also the water mill's well and skylight. The second structure is the payabs. Payabs are architectural structures situated within the urban tissue designed to provide residents access to Qanat's water. This structure is consisted of a long staircase leading underground, and they are generally divided into two categories. The first category is public payabs that are situated within the urban tissue, and these public payabs are the urban points for the ordinary people to utilize and gain access to the Qanat's water. And also within various important public buildings, such as a Jame Mosque, there is a payab that is specific to that structure and provides direct access for people, or for example, using the Jame Mosque. And this payab is 25 meters underground. And the second category is the private payabs that are situated within the private buildings, such as courtyard houses. These private payabs provide direct access to water for wealthy people in their own houses. And also some of these courtyard houses feature a cellar, which is connected to the Qanat's water. So in concluding my presentation, reflect on the main points we've covered so far. This study has sought to interpret the connections between the urban components of Yazd by reconstructing the city's formation process. Furthermore, the research has examined the influences of the Qanat systems on the formation process of Yazd. In this approach to the structure of environment, this study has reached a broad comprehension of the built environment by studying its components based on 4 decreasing scales. The first scale is the territorial scale. It can be said that a crucial factor in positioning the city of Yazd between 2 parallel series of top ridge roads is its utilization of the Qanat systems to fulfill water requirements. In this scale, the Qanat system has impact in determining the location of the city. The second scale is the urban scale. It can be said that there's a strong connection between the urban growth oriented along the main slope and towards the south and southwest and the Qanats. In this scale, the Qanats have impact on the direction of the urban growth. The third scale is the urban tissue. it can be said that there's a strong connection between the urban configuration of the city and the Qanat systems. In each phase, the urban tissue follows a distinct urban planning methods based on diverse cultural sources. Each of these methods has owned a planning logic. These Qanats act as a dividing line between the three phases of the city. And the fourth scale is the building scale. As I said, these courtyard houses have direct access to the Qanat's water for wealthy people. In conclusion, the formation and transformation of the city of Yazd have been dependent on the Qanats as the only supplier of water. These are my references. And I extend my gratitude to both jury members and audience. Thank you all for your presence and attention. And the question.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nahal Khorrami, for presenting within a little bit more than the assigned time. But for sure, we can allow that, hence the long time you dedicated to the understanding of the formation process of the urban tissue of Isatis, Yazd. Now, we would like to pick some comments from the jury members, but to do so, you have to go there. So, because otherwise, it's not going to go on the recording, on Zoom, on the live streaming. We do have a number of people attending from other countries. My computer has frozen. I'm afraid we're going to have to. Anyhow, if you want to make some comments, Luca or Zer, please go there. Can you stop screen sharing for a second? Is the Zoom running? My computer has frozen.
No, I can't. Just for you.
So my computer has frozen. I'm going to have to stop my Zoom.
All right, but the microphone is working, right?
Yes, it's working.
Okay, so thank you for the presentation, and Professor Cummings, thank you again for inviting me as a jury member. It's obviously a very comprehensive research. Congratulations on the extent of the research. First of all, I have some comments and some recommendations on the structure of the written part of the thesis. Well, you noticed when you explained your study here, you didn't start with the literature you review in the that you put in the thesis, but you started with explaining the Qanat system and the case area Yazd. So in your thesis, the literature review was. They're hearing me, right?
Yes, I think.
All right. Okay. So in the thesis, in the written report, in the literature review, you mentioned 10 articles and you explain what they have done, but you do that in a very brief manner. Actually, we do not understand from that what the researchers have done. You say they took into consideration many of these and some of these, and we don't know what they are. So I recommend you to rewrite those parts, because obviously you have done that research and read all those articles, but you haven't reflected their research and the literature review very properly in the report. So that's the first comment I have. And I have other comments regarding your research questions and, well, okay, let me try to. So in your research questions, you say, how were the urban tissue of Yazd influenced by the Qanat system? Well, in research design, we do not ask the research question like that, actually. it needs to be answered like either proving or disproving your hypothesis. So you're going to have a hypothesis. Your hypothesis is Qanat system influenced the morphological system. So your question is going to be,
Is it true or not?
yeah, exactly. Okay, so you have some sub questions, and those are okay. So in literature review, like I said, I believe you're going to rewrite those parts, and also we finished the literature review, but we still have no idea what the Qanat system is. You put the information about the Qanat system in your case study part section in the thesis.
Actually, I put it after the introduction of Yazd. After Yazd, I put the
Yeah,
Qanat.
but you have a literature review,
Yes.
and there we don't understand what the Qanat system is.
Yes.
So also, like I said, when you describe those articles about the Qanat systems and Yazd and Iran, you may integrate the explanation definition of the Qanat system there. But you have explained the Qanat system through Yazd in this
Yes.
research. I mean, you can integrate those parts.
Yes.
Well, I have noticed you used as a claim, as a phrase, as a claim. I'm not sure what it means. I'm not sure if it's a correct phrase. And like I said, you have creating a more comprehensive understanding or valuable perceptions. Your phrases are like these in the literature review. So it's more like an evaluation. Okay. So I'm sorry, I'm making you wait. I have to check notes. The Yazd province, you say it's 130,000 approximately square kilometers. Is it correct?
I took it from the for sure sources, but I'm going to check it maybe in typing on wrong.
Yeah, please
Maybe I'm
check
going to
that again.
Sure.
Okay. So you have these figures showing central Iran and
Yes.
the location of Yazd there. But actually those figures are taken from 1966 census.
From Qanat study.
Well, I'm not sure if you have time to do these corrections, but if you have time, again, recommend if you kind of redraw those. Huh?
Refresh.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
we don't need the census data. There are dots, bigger and smaller dots showing the census of the population. We don't need that. So maybe if you can delete those parts and just use the base map. Because I noticed your the figures that you illustrated yourself
Yes.
are very good. So I see that you have that talent. So, and also you have figure 4. Figure 4 street plan is from 1979.
Yes, all of them are from Qanat study. His thesis was Yazd, and I took it from that study.
Okay, but we can take the street pattern from more recent sources.
Yes. In all my maps that I made myself are all the recent base data of the city.
Okay. So the astrological aspect,
Yes.
yeah, that part, I don't see how that's relevant, but maybe to indicate the importance of Yazd. And you put the maps, Alexander the Great, and then the other map, the Macedonian Empire, Macedonian Empire. So I mean, those maps are also not very relevant. You're trying to say that Yazd has been where it has been, but I mean, those maps are a little confusing to say that.
I tried to show that maps to talk about the history, how the Yazd was formed. So that's why I put that maps.
Okay. So again, in the Qanat system, in section 2.2, you start describing the Qanat system, and this is where we first see the Qanat system's explanation definition. So I really I would appreciate if you can integrate it with the literature. Yes, reorder. The order in the presentation was much better, and it was more clear. Okay, let me. Okay, because then after explaining Yazd and the historical maps in section 2.3, you come back to Yazd, the formation of Yazd. So that's also a little separated. Both are explaining Yazd, the history of Yazd and the formation of Yazd, but then the Qanat system is in between them. Okay, so the in the research design, in the beginning of the thesis, in the report, maybe you can give like a brief explanation of the methodology with like bullets, what you did. You have a very nice figure, like a flow chart, but there, actually we see the urban tissue scale and urban scale there. Well, I'm not sure about this now. I mean, listening to the presentation, it was more clear. So in the outline, the titles of the sections, don't say literature review, say, I don't know, the Qanat system and the relation with urban morphology in Iranian cities. Those are the parts you do in the literature review. So, other than that, here I took some notes. Well, in the urban tissue region, not regional, territorial scale, urban tissue, in all of those, Yazd is in the same location within the same frame. That's good, but if you can also outline the recent borders of the city in all of those maps.
It's outside this part of my map. It is more bigger than that.
Oh, so
those are phase maps, so they're not there in every phase.
Okay. All right.
Phase map.
And about the results, about your conclusions. So you say that the Qanat system has influenced the formation of the city in all of these scales. Well, from this analysis, I would conclude that in urban tissue scale and building scale, it's more evident. But in urban scale, maybe the topography itself is more effective. So the Qanat system with its relation to the topography has influenced. I mean, the influence is not as strong in all of the scales. So that's about it from me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, thank you. So, thank you for your presentation. I'm not an urban planner, so I cannot judge some part of the thesis, of course, according to what you've done. But as historians, I would like to add something, because there are, according to me, some missing points in not in what you studied. What you studied is very clear, also how you developed your thesis, But from my point of view, for instance, I didn't see any historical map. So I'm wondering if there are historical maps of Yazd, because this is very crucial to me. Because you presented all the map as it is today and try to figure out from the contemporary map how were the phases. And also this is a bit tricky because I saw that there were highways cutting, let's say, the city center. Yeah, so cannot be. When you are showing the development, should be also, if it is your interpretation, but should go from the original nucleus and the phases during the centuries, but not overlapping with the contemporary grid, because this is misleading. It's not so clear. Even in terms of color, maybe sometimes I get confused. You were showing continuously map one, adding new areas just with number, and it's a bit not so clear. Maybe using, I don't know, maybe different colors to show the original nucleus, and then in some periods, how they surrounded, let's say, for instance, outside the city walls, then in the different periods, how it evolved up to the 19th century, it would be much more clear. And I think this is a point, but I didn't see any historical map of, and I don't consider historical map the representation of as it was in the Macedonian Empire, let's say. Those are not historical maps. Those are just, I don't know, 19th century, 18th century, or even early 20th century maps of something of 1,000 years ago. So I don't consider these as historical maps for Yazd. Instead, I'm wondering if you find, maybe there aren't, that I don't know.
Find historical maps. And also, I only find one historical map which is really unclear from Honeycomb went to Yazd. And I mentioned it in my manuscript, but I didn't put it in my presentation.
Yeah, but this is very important because those they are given exactly, maybe they are not correct. We cannot say that those are correct just because they are old maps. But at the same time, they are giving.
There are no historical maps, unfortunately, that is the point. So
Yeah, that is.
The city, as a source of information, because.
Wait, let her, no, not you.
No, the advisor, so I can step in indeed. So the point is that there are no historical maps. And the city as a material document is the source of information in this case.
So
I've been working on the city, not on the representation of the city. You can say.
Yeah, because on the other hand, sometimes I'm working also on these kind of topics. I'm going through, for instance, travel literature, which it gives other clue to see the city in certain periods, time, through the eyes of the witness of a certain time. Also, this doesn't mean that it's correct, but it can show some transformation or something like this. So this is one point, but as I said, I mean, you did very good, it's clear, but it can be better in a way, in terms of representation of maps to make more clear the phases and so on. The other thing that I found surprised that you are not mentioned at all is the charba, because the charba is the core of the, of the Persian Muslim architecture. I mean, it's very crucial, it's very important. The houses are all built around this courtyard, which is the charba. That's according then to the region or whatever, it takes different shapes. In your case, they are not, as far as I see, garden cut into four, but they are most just linear, longitudinal garden. So
small samples of charba. Photographs are small samples of charba, but they don't have that logic. Which is
but that should be compared with the charba and see how are maybe differences or similarities with other part of, especially in Iran, because I mean, what is Persia, whatever, what it was, Safavid, for instance, because it's when they start to develop in the 15th, 16th century. So this maybe can be also important. And also when you're mentioned, this is very minimal things, the Payap underground environment, I think you should make some consideration about the fact that those were not just to collect water. They were also places where people were living because the temperature outside is very high, while when you are down, temperature, and they keep water inside to keep the temperature balance to create a microclimate where people can join, stay together, except the mosque. I mean, of course, mosque is something that
Not a place that people gather together there. There are only place to gain water because they're so small, like like 4 square meter. And they have cellar in their houses, which is underground and related to the Qanat's water. And they because of the hot temperature and hot climate, they gather together there, but they don't like.
Yeah, but also this should be mentioned, because when you wrote instead that they are public,
Yes.
I'm thinking that they are public so that they are used by people. And since I know that in those geography, the arid climates make people to stay close, the same reason of the charba is the same. Create a courtyard where you have water inside, the water also that can affect the temperature, the microclimate, let's say, in a house or in a garden in the space. Okay, those were just my comments, but thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe we can now pass the word to the trip advisor, Monsieur Nabai, if you want to say something.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for the jury to being here. Thanks, Professor Kamis, for conducting all the process, and thanks, Nahal, for this good presentation. After the year that I have been involved in her work, I believe that what is important in Nahal work is what she is adding to the suburban form in Iran. As we talked about it before in the process, the study of urban form in Iran is a mystified thing because many studies just rely on the form of the architecture and building with just interpretive manner, and but Nahal work is a classified, methodic, and processive study of a city in the central plate of Iran. Therefore, what she can add to the study of urban form in Yazd, for example, is what she has done in the formation phases. I was looking at another thesis before this presentation, which has been done in Sheffield University by Professor Mohsen Mohammadi about Yazd and the formation process of the city many years ago. I believe that what Nahal done is more clear than what we had many years before, because it's relying on exact definition of old city borders through time and its relation to Qanat, what was exactly neglected in the study of urban form in Yazd. The relationship between Yazd, the form of Yazd, and the Qanat pathways as a material of research, not just as words and as claims. So I just want to add something else that about the historical maps. The problem of historical maps in Iran is a little bit complex because many of these maps are made by foreigners, and during past years, during about 100 years ago, these maps are moved outside the country. So some of them are captured and made some digital versions, and we have them in Iran. But we missed lots of these maps. And for example, in Tehran, Isfahan, Shiraz, Mashhad, Tabriz, because they are the largest cities, we still have some variation of the maps. But Yazd is a secondary city, and I think we have lost many valuable historical document about the city. That's all I can say.
Thank you. We have a number of other people online. If anyone else would like to add a comment before I go with the closing remark. Martin.
Yes, I just want to congratulate Nahal for the great presentation. Unfortunately, I missed the start of it. Maybe something with the time difference between Turkey and here. So thank you for the presentation, and good luck to you further.
Dankeschön. It is live stream, so I'm going to forward to you the link to the live stream so you can follow it later if you wish. Now, just closing remark. Anyone else? Anyone else in the room or online?
I think there's some messages on the chat.
Yeah, those comments were in Farsi and they're gone on my computer because I was not out, but it said there was no audio in the beginning, and now it says the audio is okay. And then one said in English, excellent. So if anyone else from Zoom would like to make a comment, please turn on your microphone and do so right now. Okay, closing remarks are, if anyone has been studying, it's very difficult to generalize the Islamic city, and that's not even appropriate, but in the Middle East, historical sources, especially historical maps, are very rare. If you can find anything, you're very lucky. For different reasons. One is the preservation of documents, if there were documents, and probably there were, but the preservation culture in those, that area of the world is more recent, and we have many more documents in the West in general. The other thing is that the so-called geometrical cadastres that were introduced in the 15th century, there's no such thing in that area of the world. So images are very rare. Furthermore, this is not a thesis in history, it's about urban morphology, and the point of the whole research, not only this one, what we do in our laboratory, is understanding the city upon the material consistence of the city to be considered as a historical source. So the material consistence, like archaeologists, if they dig, they find something, that is the documentation. They're not looking for drawings of that. They're looking for the material consistence. Working on the material consistence of the city as a source of information to be interpreted, explained, within its evolution, because the city is changing all the time, is basically the foundation of this kind of work. And how do you get the material consistence of the city? Through maps. And the maps that were available are not the best maps of the world, of course, but that is what is available today in Iran in terms of documentation. Even a modern cadastral archive of the city of Yazd, maybe there is one, but it is not available as far as we know. I have been working quite a lot on, these cities of the Middle East. And usually you've got cadastral plans if there is a colonial rule, like the British rule or French rule in Maghreb, for instance. But elsewise, you don't find anything else than the city as it is today. Furthermore, the preservation culture, not only of documents, but of buildings, is in those areas of the world not as much developed, maybe today it is, but was not so much developed in the past times as it is in those. So old buildings disappear very quickly. My own remark, so you said several times that the northern part of the city is Sassanid. That is in a way a contradiction with what you have stated in the beginning. The city was named Isatis much earlier in the Sassanid domination. And so following the whole understanding of the documentation you have provided, that part of the city which shows typical Hellenistic character of the plan, Hippodamian grid, following the Pestrigas configuration of the blocks with the typical measure of, 120 feet, 35.50 meter. It, I think, dates to the Hellenistic area where the construction of the prison is done at the edge of that settlement. So, so maybe that is not Sassanid as a foundation. Also comparing that core as a street grid. With other Hellenistic foundation in this area of the world, you can find several analogies, such as the orientation of the street, the measure of the block, the building type which is established therein. But the main topic of this research is understanding the relationship there is between the underwater system, the Qanat, and the formation process of Yazd. In my opinion, that was completely developed and explained, showing that in different times, the underground water system as an infrastructure does reflect in the organization of the urban tissue at different levels. It's not a guiding system, but providing a strong relationship of form between what is underground and what is above ground. And that is within the connection that certain parts of the city buildings, houses do have with the water system, which is meant to provide water to the city and to the houses. So that is all on my side. Naha, that's your final word.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We are going to stop recording and